Hey now, cats, we're back again this week, and with me, I am sitting here with not only one of my longest supporters, a great friend, a fellow horror fan, and a super fan of the Howard Stern Show. If you know Balls and you know Xtina, you know we love this dude. I'm sitting here with the man, the myth, the motherfucking legend, Jimmy the Hair Guy. He's here today. He's going to talk about his newest
What an
podcast called Slasher School and much, much more. I'm excited to chat with him. Let's get right into it. Jimmy the Hair Guy, how are you, homie?
what an intro. My God. I wasn't expecting all that. What's going on, buddy?
I don't fuck around, dude. I got to give you your proper, your proper intro, man. Hold on a second.
You're too good to me.
It says your bandwidth is low.
Really?
Yeah, and
What
then
does that mean?
your screen went down to like this big instead of this big.
Is it still that big?
Yeah. Talk dirty to it. It'll make
Uh-oh.
it bigger.
Uh, fuck me, baby. Fuck. I don't know what to do. Shit.
I might have to keep this in.
Oh yeah, I would. I would.
You know what, man?
Well,
Fuck it. Just let's
you
just.
look good on my end.
Oh, thank you. I've been, I did a little touch up, but
Oh, you
I
look great.
hey, fuck it, man. We'll see how if anything, it'll be funny. So, I mean,
If it doesn't work, we'll
ah,
do it again.
just went back.
Oh, good.
Oh, nice. Okay, but
I
anyway,
did nothing, so
huh? All right. Okay. Okay. Let me. God damn it. But before we get into it, and talk about your new podcast, sir. I actually, it's funny. We've been friends for a long time, but in all honesty, I have to tell you, I know very little about you, and that's going to change because I actually want to know a little bit about you and your life growing up. What was you like as a kid growing up, and where did you grow up? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself growing up as a kid? I kind of want to know a little more.
yeah. I live in Philly now, but I'm originally from Massachusetts. I lived in Massachusetts for about 30 years. Worcester specifically. And God, as a kid, I was super into video games, action figures, horror movies, and Ren and Stimpy, and not much has changed.
Oh, dude, I
Uh,
love all that shit still. Like, I
yeah,
wanted to ask you, like, as a kid, were you always in the horror movies like me? Because I mean, I started
yeah,
at a very early age. I was in the horror since I was probably like 6 or 7 years old.
yeah. Me
Started
too.
with Chiller Theater with Chilly Billy. I mean, that's probably way before your time. You're way younger than me, so
Well, that's the Pittsburgh one, right? That's the
yeah.
Pittsburgh show.
Hmm.
We had I mean, I don't think it was just us, but we had
Yeah, who was
on
your local horror host? Do you remember?
no, I don't.
Did you
Now
even
they
have one?
I don't know if we did. I mean, obviously we had Joe Bob, but everybody had Joe Bob.
Hmm.
Just like now everybody has Svengoolie. I mean, I knew Elvira. Now back home they have, or back in Mass, they have someone named Penny Dreadful, but I could never find her before I moved. I
I've
follow
seen
her
her on
on
the
Facebook.
internet, but I've yet to see her show.
Same, I could never find her. I don't know. Well, so on Saturday afternoons, they used to show from like noon to 6. I don't think it was hosted by anybody, but they used to show like three random horror movies. And I remember one day catching, like, I remember I caught Leprechaun. I remember I caught Stephen King Sleepwalkers. I remember I caught Jason Goes to Hell, like random shit. And
Was it on network TV, like TBS or
it
something?
was no, it was like, you know how there's
Uncut?
no, God, no.
Oh yeah.
You know how it was, there was like CBS, ABC,
Yeah,
NBC,
yeah, yeah.
Fox. It was like UPN 38 or some shit. Like it wasn't the CW. It was like the random channel in between NBC and what would later become the CW, or then was
Oh,
the WB.
oh, that's cool.
So like I would always like either check the TV guide or I check the scrolling channel
Oh
to
yeah,
see
yeah,
what was
yeah.
going to be
Oh, yeah,
on
I remember
Saturday.
that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I remember one time they showed mosquito, ticks, and something else.
Oh, dude, Amy Dolan's Ticks. That's awesome.
And I remember watching it with my dad, and like my parents hated horror, so like that made me like it even more. But my dad actually watched Ticks with me, and he even enjoyed it. Like, and my mom randomly watched Leprechaun with me, and she kind of dug it. But for the most part, like they didn't want me going anywhere fucking near it. And then like by the time Scream came out and blew the fuck up, like I was into it, but I was still more into like the cheesier shit,
Oh yeah, yeah,
the like really like character driven killer shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Um, but I never really put my nose up to much of it. Like I was always just into all of it. Like you remember going to the video store and walking down that horror
Oh,
aisle. It
dude,
was
I'll be honest with you. There's times where like my heart still misses that. Like I
oh, I think about it
trying to
every
find
day.
that diamond in the rough, dude. You'd watch like 10 shitty movies to get to that one fucking awesome movie, and it would made it all the worthwhile. And I'll be honest with you, watching the 10 shitty ones is pretty fun too. You had a
And the
couple beers, you had your friends over, you always had a good time. But it's funny you mentioned your parents, dude, because like I grew up from a very conservative household. My parents hated horror movies. My dad believes that like you get possessed by demons and shit if you watch them or something. And then but then it's funny because like my mom always hated, but I drug her to every Freddy Krueger, every Jason, every Jean-Claude Van Damme, like karate movie, all
oh
that, all the
man,
martial arts. And it's funny, dude. I tell everybody the story of this day, and it's always really, it's still humorous to me. I drug her all that shit, and she claimed to hate it. Then once I moved out, that's all she watches now, dude. Like she's the
really?
biggest fucking dude. She watches more horror movies than I do. Like I'll call her and she'll be like, "Did you see this shit? Did you
Is
see
that
this shit?" She'll
possible?
tell me all that, and I'm like, "Oh, it's very possible." And I'm like, "Holy shit, mom! Like I thought you didn't like it." She's like, "Nah, she's a horror hound now." So like
Wow.
I have to say I'm actually that's like my crowning achievement. I turned my mom onto the horror genre.
You
So
should be very proud.
I am very proud. I feel pretty good about that. I took my mom to see. She's in a wheelchair. She has MS real bad. She's usually bedridden, but she wanted to see Terrifier 3 like so bad. I actually drove to her house. I loaded her in the car. I loaded her wheelchair in my car. We had a fucking great time, dude. It was amazing. So we're gonna go see it
Bravo.
when it comes out. So but yeah, it's always a fun, man. And that's what I love so much about the genre. It brings people together. You wouldn't think it does, but man, and you know what? I know we get a bad rap, but I have to say most horror fans are actually really good people and really caring, and we all kind of are like a community and a family. That's kind
Yeah.
of what drew me into it from a very early age. But that leads to be my next question, dude. You had mentioned watching all these things growing up. I feel like everybody has, and I ask everybody this that comes on my show. Everybody has a defining moment. I call it the chase and the dragon moment. What was that first movie that you seen that after that you're like, fuck, like I am a horror fan and I need to seek out more and I love it. The movie that turns you on from the very beginning.
Um, I would, I would, I do have the answer. Let me preface this by saying I would love to say it's Freddy's Dead. It's not, but I would love to say it's Freddy's Dead because I remember seeing that on a Saturday afternoon. And I mean, by today's standards, people hate the video game scene. I have the fucking tattoo of it,
Did
but
you see? I actually don't mind Freddy's Dead. I don't like the Dream
I
Child. I think that's the only one that blows in my whole.
I love both of them. I love both of them,
I am not a
and
fan. That's the only one I'm not a fan of, dude. I think Freddy's Dead gets a bad rap. I mean, it's not great, but I enjoy it. I seen it in the theater with the fucking 3D glasses, dude.
no
Yeah,
way. We
yeah,
did
it was
that. We
dope.
did that recently, but I mean, you're talking about original release. Like we
Yeah, dude.
saw we saw it a few months ago at the Blob Theater. They ran it with the 3D glasses, and I
Oh,
was
that's
in
awesome.
heaven.
I would love
But
to see that in 3D again.
you did it in '91. Now
Dude,
that's
I seen Jaws 3 in the theater in 3D. I'm an old motherfucker,
I'm a I'm a jealous motherfucker.
dude.
But I remember seeing that video game scene and being like, "This is the greatest shit ever." But it wasn't that though. I mean, that blew my fucking mind, and that's like when I was all in on everything. But the to answer your question properly, the one that really got me was Leprechaun. I remember my
The
mom
very
had it
first
on.
one with Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, my mom had it on. It was probably about three-quarters of the way through. It's when the cop pulls them over.
Gotcha. Mm.
And like everything that came after it, the wheelchair chase and like the guy coming through the fucking elevator, and
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I love Leprechaun. I have the
I do
whole
too.
box set.
Oh, me too. We did it on Slasher School.
Oh yeah.
Little fucking plug there, but yeah,
Oh, we're getting there, buddy. Well, we're getting there.
I. But I remember like I don't think I love it as much now as I did then, as much, although I do still love it. But I remember seeing that and just being like, "This is the greatest shit ever." Like you always thought of leprechauns as being like like either like really tiny or really friendly or whatever the fuck. And like here's this legit leprechaun motherfucker. Like when effects were like still amazing, you know what I mean? Like you don't watch that movie, especially at 6 or whatever, and say, "Oh, that's clearly an actor," or "Oh, that's fucking Willow," or whatever the fuck. Like that blew my fucking mind. Watching a leprechaun kill people, like pretty gruesomely too, to some extent. You know what I mean? Like even on fucking basic fucking like less than cable fucking commercials, fucking no fucks allowed, no tits allowed. Not that there was any of those anyway, but that was definitely the one. That was definitely the one.
That's it, dude. That's an interesting choice, but I totally get it. I love that shit, man. Like
I walked in on my mom watching it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And like I was all in.
let me ask you this, man. Everybody has one of these. What was the movie that actually scared the shit out of you as a kid? Hmm.
I'm waiting for you to get to the shit your pants story. I assume that's coming, right?
I mean, I didn't have a plan, but I mean, if you got one, I
Do
surely
you
have
not
it.
ask people for their shit the pants
I kind
story
of
anymore?
stopped a while ago because, in all honesty, it got to the point where people kind of got weird about it, and then
Well, you can ask me in a few
and then I
questions.
felt like I was kind of like making people uncomfortable with it, and like I actually had one. I almost got the shit beat out of me by fucking Doyle from the Misfits for asking about a shit your pants story. So yeah,
No,
I kind of retired it, but you know what? For you, dude, I'm gonna bring it out of retirement tonight.
no
Don't
pun
worry.
intended. You have fucking balls asking that
And dude,
motherfucker
and
that
dude, he
question.
was towering over me like fucking like
Yeah,
6 feet, and he goes
yeah.
to me, dude. He looks at me square in the eyes, and he gets in my face, and he's like, "Why would you ask me that story? Why would you ask me that question?" And I'm like, "Because I genuinely want to know." And then he just he looks at XT, and then he's like, and then he walked. I was like, "Oh man, this motherfucker, he's gonna kick my ass." But
Well, yeah. Bring it out of retirement for me. What was your original question? I'm sorry, I interrupted
I
you.
mean, now, what was the movie that stands out in your mind that scared
Scared
the
me.
shit out of you as a kid? There is a couple different things for me. Like I know to this day that something uneasy like that. The fucking clown. First, I know it sounds dumb now, but when I was a kid, the clown from Poltergeist used to scare the living shit out of me.
That's not dumb. No, that's fucking
That was
great.
nightmare fucking fuel for me when I was a kid, dude. Like that. I still see it sometimes, and I'm like, my buddy owns like the screen used that, and like I don't even think I could fucking. I don't even think I'd be able to go in that room at night. I'd be like, nope.
Oh my god. All right, this is kind of a cheat 'cause it's not a movie. I had to really think about this. And it's kind of weird because it was for kids. But you know what actually fucking freaked me out a lot and I was consumed with it was fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, dude. The Midnight Society. Fuck
And
yeah.
it's like Ghastly Grinner, which I
Actually,
love.
Xtina has some best of DVDs up on our thing here, man, and I'll put them in every once in a while. I love that shit, dude. I thought that was great.
There was a couple of Ghastly Grinner was one. The vampire one and the fucking the blood bank or some shit.
I remember that.
Not the fucking Nosferatu one. Well,
Mm,
that one is great too. And the other one that comes to mind, the magician's assistant or the
I
wizard's
remember that.
assistant.
Yeah,
And then, oh, I don't know. Like,
I remember those. That was ahead of its time, man. That was a good
yeah,
show.
it was great. I mean, I've watched some of them since, and I'm like, ooh, this didn't hold up. But man, the
Yeah,
ones that,
yeah, dude. I try to try to recapture that magic, and sometimes it's better just left alone. I'll go
yeah,
back as I build things up in my mind. I'm like, man, I remember that was great. And I go back and I watch it. I'm like, hmm, not so much.
yeah,
Like my taste
yeah.
changed. They haven't got much better, but I guess my tastes have changed a little bit. But
You know what else freaked me out as a kid? Fucking, which I just told Michelle this because we watched it for Christmas. It's so weird because even today it still kind of freaks me out. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this. You know what fucking kind of spooks me a little bit because the effects are so fucking good. The goddamn gremlins, those motherfuckers are so fucking real looking, which is crazy. Because like, do you remember the Warner Brothers store?
yeah,
Remember they were like on like the fucking
yeah,
like the fans and shit and the
yeah,
rafters
dude.
and shit. Like that's one piece of merch that like I haven't bought like from Trick or Treat. I think it would give me a heart attack. Like, I
Dude,
think
I
I'll fucking ruin.
actually we just watched that just for Christmas, like because I
Yeah,
consider it like a Christmas movie, and I
so did
remember seeing
we.
that in the theater. And dude, that I think that might be the best horror comedy ever for the simple reason
It's
that like
incredible.
well, I mean, of course, it has Dick Miller in it, so that already
Oh
makes
yeah,
it awesome.
Joe
But
Dante's boy.
yeah, dude, but not only that, dude, I think the biggest problem where horror comedies go wrong is the Gremlins is perfect because like the funny parts are funny, but then when it's scary, it's actually scary. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the times, I don't like horror comedy because they think they try to be scary, but it never happens. It's just kind
Hmm.
of go goofy and ridiculous through the whole thing. I mean, and that's fine, but like I think the best horror comedy was like is like I said, whenever, and that's really hard to do. Like because not only is comedy subjective, but like horror is subjective. So like to be perfect in both of those things, I think Gremlins is a perfect movie, man. I'm actually excited that they're doing another
Me
one.
too. Well,
I
you
mean,
mentioned Dick. No, go ahead.
I don't. So much time has passed, though. I mean, can it be good? I don't know.
If Joe Dante's doing it, maybe. You mentioned Dick Miller. His at the time it was his death scene. Obviously, we know he comes back in the sequel, but
Hmm.
his death scene as a kid fucked me up. I don't know why. I
It's
have
got
no
some.
idea
I
why.
gotta say, dude. I mean, that's not embarrassing at all because that Gremlins has some really dark, scary
Yeah.
moments. Like, I mean, even now when I watch it as I'm an adult, I'm like, man, this would have scared the fuck out of a kid. Like, I mean, I was a weird kid anyway, but like, I mean, for like a normal kid, I think that probably really would have affected him.
I mean, well, because there's something about for me the Dick Miller character specifically, like rewatching it for Christmas, like the old lady in the chair, like
Mm.
you're rooting for her to die. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Like
because she's a bitch. So like, I
yes.
mean,
Dick Miller is just like a good dude. You know what I
yeah.
mean? He's just a good dude.
That just shows
And
you how evil the gremlins are because
yeah,
they don't have a bias. They'll just fucking kill you. So I mean,
yeah, and like they fucking destroy his house. Like they use his fucking his pride and joy like to flatten him. Like it just fucked me up. Like I was like, I don't know how old I was when I saw it. Like it was funny. Like that was the movie my parents didn't mind me watching, probably because it was PG. And like everything,
there's
like
no
it's
reason that movie, dude. That goes to show you how soft like the ratings board was back then. Because
well,
dude, that could have easily been like a PG-13 or R-rated film.
that's that film and Temple of Doom were the reason the PG-13 got created.
Oh no way! I
The
didn't know.
PG-13 came right after because Gremlins and Temple of Doom had them losing their shit because they couldn't justify an R,
Mm.
but it was but a PG meant like take the whole family, you know.
Take the
So
whole
that's why,
family, scar them for life. Years of therapy will fix the gremlins.
yeah, that's why there's that's why there's like titties and PG movies from that period and shit. Like,
Wow.
so those two movies were the reason that PG-13 happened. Like, yet less than a year later, 1985. Some Matt Dillon movie was the first one.
I got a couple more horror questions, and we're gonna
Please.
talk about some other. What's your favorite and least favorite horror film?
Ooh, good God. Now, when you say least favorite, you mean I still like it, but it's bottom of my list,
No,
or
no,
like
I
I
mean
hate
like
it,
something you absolutely hate.
that I hate? I have a weird like it's almost like a genre thing. The genre of horror that I definitely like the least is like ghost slash haunted house movies.
Hmm.
Not to say they're all bad because they're not. There's plenty of exceptional ones. But when I really think of movie like horror movies that sucked fucking balls, no pun intended. Uh
Hello.
like I think of like The Changeling with fucking George C.
Oh,
Scott.
dude, that's a fucking 5-star movie, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, for me that's a snooze.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking I've seen it a few
See,
times.
I absolutely see. I love that shit, dude. I love.
Oh,
Have you
puts
ever
me to
seen?
sleep.
Have you ever seen The Entity? You might like that one with
Is
Barbara
that from
Hershey. Oh, it's from the
1990?
'80s. It's the one
It's
with
from the
Barbara
80s.
Hershey, where it was based on a
And
true story, where she
is
keeps.
it Ron Silver too?
Yeah, she keeps getting assaulted and raped by a ghost when she moves into this house.
It's on my list. I do know about it.
It's very good. I could see the Changeling because that's not everyone's cup of tea. Because I mean, it can be kind of boring, I guess. But
Well, you know
I
like
would
how
be
like
highly surprised if you didn't like the Entity. Mhm.
you know how in the last like 15 years there's been like
You're not the only one. Ex Tina thinks that's boring too.
I wish I didn't. I mean, it's beautifully shot. It's acted very well. It's just it puts me to fucking sleep.
You know what I
Like
think the problem is? That's a real slow burn. Like that first 2 hours of that movie is
yeah.
just to get to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't for me it didn't pay off. For me it was just like holy Christ. I feel that way about some Jalo too, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, you're breaking my heart, Jimmy the Hair.
not like fucking like Mario Bava or Lucio Fulci. I love them, but like some Argento moves very fucking slow and like it's beautiful to look at, but like
Uh,
speed it up a little. You know what I mean? Like, let's fucking get going here. But
uh,
I'm not saying I dislike it. I really dislike the Changeling. I do love Argento. It's just like I feel like I have to be in the right mood for him. I can watch a Fulci anytime. I can watch a Bava anytime. But Argento, there's like a fucking mood I have to, like a mindset I need to be in, like to fully embrace it. You know, the last like 15 years, there's been all these like Lights Out, and like I can't even think of the titles, like Winchester. Like there's so many of these
well, that's
fucking
because
like
they're all forgettable, dude. It's all like
yeah,
PG-13 teen horror, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I
That's my
couldn't
least favorite genre, like where they're just trying to make a few bucks by having teenage girls give them a few jump scares and they'll be happy. But I mean,
can't tell you what my least favorite is, but something in that genre for sure, because all that shit just fucking
yeah.
oh, it puts me to fucking sleep. My
And the
favorite,
problem is it makes money, so it's never going to go away. So
you know what? If horror makes money, I can't complain.
best
Um,
best diamond in the rough movie, and that what I when I say that I mean best movie that you have discovered that you don't think anybody knows about that you absolutely love and think is incredible. I have a couple.
well, I didn't even answer your other question. Favorite horror movie? Um, I think I would have to either go with. I feel like a fucking tool, but I got to be true to myself, right? I would probably say either House Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects because I fucking mock out over Spalding and just Rob Zombie in general, his whole filmography. I'm in the minority on that one.
Yes.
Diamond in the yeah, I know, which is fine. I'm very open about it, but I take a lot of shit. Diamond in the Rough. That's a good fucking question. Give me yours while I fucking ponder this.
Oh, Diamond in the Rough. My Diamond in the
Yeah.
Rough movies. I have two that I usually like to turn people onto that I'm pretty sure that nobody ever remembers. Have you ever seen Sleep Stalker: Last Rites of the Sandman?
No, I've never even heard of that.
It was this old release direct to video movie from the 90s, and it was like about this dude. He's like the Sandman, and he turns in the sand and he's a serial killer, and he like reappears like he could pretty much get anywhere because he's fucking made out of sand.
Yeah.
It's like this creepy lullaby in it. I'm a sucker for that shit, dude. That shit creeps me out.
Text me that title because I'm never gonna remember. That's such a long
And there's
title.
this Taiwanese slasher movie called Scared, and I fucking love it,
I
dude.
don't know that one
It's
either.
it's about these kids. They're like in this pep rally on a bus, and they're going to their pep rally, and the bridge breaks, and it like spills them all out in the woods, and there's like these fucking hunters out there hunting them all down. And
Really?
then wackiness ensues because then it turns into something completely different. You're like, holy fuck. Dude, I have yet to meet anybody that's ever fucking. In fact, I sent it to Joe Bob and Darcy because they never even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, dude, and it's really good. Like it's fucking awesome.
Is
Like
it available? Tough to find.
I have a bootleg. I don't think they're unless you have a Region 3 player. I don't think you can even get an official release. So.
That makes me nuts. The regions. I thought of one, and I feel like not enough people know what it is because it got a theatrical release, but it didn't get like a giant theatrical release. Um, Meaning it didn't play around me, which I think it came out when I was still in Massachusetts. But I mean, it's streaming now. I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure people have seen it. What's shocking is the cast is so fucking mind blowing. I don't know how more people don't know about it. The Rental. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, that's a good one. Was that from like was it late 80s?
Tw- No, no, no. This is recent, like
Oh, recent.
2019, I think.
Oh
2018.
no, dude. I've never even heard of that.
Okay, so listen to this cast, okay? Um, what is that motherfucker's name? From fucking Legion and The Guest and Cuckoo. Dan Stevens.
Yeah, Dan Stevens. I love
Dan
that guy.
Stevens.
I
Dan
love that guy.
Stevens. Dave Franco, who I believe directed it. James
Hmm.
Franco's brother.
I know who that is.
Allison Brie. And motherfucking, unless I'm thinking of something else, I swear Jeremy Allen White from The Bear and
Yeah.
Shameless.
Really?
And Toby Huss. Toby Huss is definitely in it. I know you know him.
Yeah, what the hell, dude? How did that go under my radar?
And it's, I find it to be, so without spoiling anything, like, I think now in my old age, like, for me to fucking really be freaked out by a movie, first of all, it has to be good, but secondly, it had like Home Invasion scares the fuck out of me. Like the original Strangers, you know what I mean? Like
I love the original Stranger. I
I
actually
do
like
too.
two too. A lot of people don't.
I like them all, but
See, I didn't like the. Really wanted to like the Rennie Harlan one, but
I
it's.
liked it.
I watched the next two, but I was
Yeah,
so pumped for that, and man, what a! I thought it was
it's
really.
just kind of a tame remake of the original, really.
It's
But
very slow and boring, and I'm like, how do you make the Strangers slow and boring? I don't understand.
like that first one scared the shit out of me, because
That's
like,
a very atmospheric film, dude. Like it's very spooky.
and I grew up like living in the woods, like where I couldn't see my neighbors
me too,
through.
dude. I was out in the boonies, dude. Like
Same,
we lived in an
same.
unfinished basement out in the middle of the woods. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, dude.
So
There's shit you see. You're looking out the window at night. You swear you see shit. You hear stuff.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
and I wear contacts, so like I take these out at night, dude. I'm blind as fuck. Like I can't see shit. So my mind is constantly playing tricks on me and shit. So like, if I hear something, so I mean, like I'm constantly in this fucking. And Michelle has the same problem. The other night she's texting me that she heard a noise, she didn't want to go to bed. You know what I mean? It's like, don't tell me that. Like now I'm gonna be afraid to come home. So anyway, the rental kind of fucking deals with that.
Ooh.
There's some great twists.
Oh, dude, I gotta see that shit. Hmm.
The cast is incredible. I'm pretty sure Dave Franco directed it.
Wow,
And it's just like I can't believe not more people know about it, have
dude,
seen
I
it.
never even heard of it. Hmm. Huh.
Dude, back when Netflix DVD was still a thing, which I got it right to the last day.
So yeah,
I
Sam.
I got it on Netflix DVD because I remember when it came out, like it didn't play near me, but I'm like, oh, that sounds dope. So right when it came out on DVD, I got it.
Hmm.
I couldn't rave about it enough, and I don't think I've fucking gotten a single person to see it, but
Well, yeah, that's gonna change because I definitely got to see that, dude.
I
So
think it's fantastic.
I'm actually gonna. I got one more question for you before we run out of time, and I'm gonna have to send you another invite, which I hope you're cool with. But
That's fine. It's
like,
fine.
but then we're gonna steer into your whole Jimmy the hair guy persona. Let me get into. I got one more horror related question.
Sure.
Till we talk about slasher school, which is the whole reason you're here, of course. But
The whole reason I'm here is to talk to you.
oh, buddy,
We're gonna promote because I have something to promote, but I'm here to talk to you. I would have done this fucking.
you're gonna make me blush. Stop it.
Come
Anyway,
on.
hey, I wanted to ask you, sir, have you ever had a supernatural experience?
I don't think so. I don't. Nothing comes to mind, so I don't think so. The only thing I can think of wasn't it Sal who fucking like thought he
Astral
floated above his
projection.
bed and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I had that once, but I think I was a kid, so I mean, Howard poo pooed all over Sal's idea of it, so I kind of convinced myself that maybe I'm full of shit too.
Hmm.
But so I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hmm. Jimmy the hair guy. That is your nickname. Can you tell me where that nickname originated from? Wasn't it from the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast? Am I correct? Can you tell
Yeah,
the story of how you are now? I mean, I knew you as Jimmy Alicata before, right? Is that am I mispronouncing your last name?
a little bit, but
How the
I'll
fuck do you
manage.
say your last name, sir? I need to know. Hmm.
Alicata.
Okay, Jimmy Alicata. That's who I know you as. But
Yeah,
you become a media sensation, sir. And now
yeah. I don't know about that.
you are come on, dude. Seriously. Let's not be. He's a modest guy, this Jimmy the hair guy. I got to tell you. Can you tell me a little bit about how this moniker came to play?
Sure. So, are you familiar with the Impractical Jokers?
Yes.
Okay, so uh, Brian Quinn, Q,
Mhm.
still have Victor Crowley. Uh, on Impractical Jokers, he shaved his head as a punishment for murder, and they took his. He grew his hair out, shaved his head. They made it into a wig for Tell 'em Steve Dave, the podcast that he is also on. He donated a lock of it to the podcast, like to sell. And they record out of Jersey, which is only about an hour from me. And so I was in Jersey for a Kevin Smith event, and I went over to where they record the podcast just to see what was going on. And I saw the hair for sale, and I'd seen it a few times, and I had definitely given some serious thought to buying it, and on this particular day, I did, uh, which they on the podcast thought was fucking insane. Here's the part I'm leaving out: the hair cost 2 grand.
Oh, dude, I thought it was 1 grand. It was 2 grand.
And
Damn, dude.
and it's and it's a fucking it's not even like it's a lock of hair, it's a fucking strand. Like it's literally like
One single strand of hair.
it's dude, it's literally this. Like it's nothing.
Wow.
And
Do you have it at least like in like a case or like
came in a case.
do you
Yeah,
have it in a safe and you only you have
I
to have two
should do
people
that.
turn the key to get into it or
It came in a case that Q signed and he wrote, "This is my hair."
are you sure it's like hair from his head?
Yeah, it
Not
is.
like a pube
It's
or a
not
butt
pubes.
hair.
No, it's
No, not hair, nothing. Hmm.
no. No, I only know because it was from Impractical Jokers specifically.
Oh,
Like they literally took a piece of what became a wig that Murr had to wear
okay.
and put it in a test tube and gave it to the show to sell.
Does it have a certificate of authenticity?
I think it does.
Holy shit!
I
I
think
was
it,
joking. Holy
I
shit!
think it does. I think it does. So when they heard that, like so the other two guys in the show, Wolf Flanagan and Brian Johnson from the
Yeah.
Kevin Smith world, they were in the other room about to record a podcast, a Tom Steve Dave podcast, and they got wind that I in the other room had just bought the hair for 2 grand. They came out, they found out that I bought the hair, and they said, "You got to come on the show." So I come on, and you can hear all this, by the way. This is out there. It's Tom Steve Dave episode, I think 516, I think is the number. Um, but anyway, so they're interviewing me or whatever, and uh, they asked me like why did I don't know, they're asking me hair questions, like because it is a fucking pretty insane thing to purchase. And I mentioned that I also have a dreadlock from Shaggy Two Dope
Mhm.
from ICP, and which is true, I do. But I mean, that's it. That's that's all the hair I got.
Did you have to buy that though too, or
Yeah, I bought that too, but it
okay?
wasn't 2 grand. That was like, I mean, I paid for it so long ago, I couldn't even tell you, but I think I paid like 150 for it. And that also has a certificate and all that shit. And that's a full dread. That's not a fucking piece of hair. That's a full fucking dread. So I paid 2 grand for a piece of hair, and I paid 150 for a full dreadlock. But anyway, when they found out that I'm the purchaser of two celebrities' hair, they dubbed me Jimmy the Hair Guy on the spot, and I have since become sort of part of their world. They gave me my own show. They've included me in a bunch of different shows that they do, and I got to go on the Impractical Jokers cruise for free, which I then performed on. I rapped against Ming Chen from Comic Book
Are
Men
you serious? That's
on
awesome.
stage in the biggest theater on the boat, and I
Who,
got
who
like an
won?
insane me, and I got an insane reaction, dude. Like, and I am, like you said earlier, that I'm modest or I'm humble. I really try to be, and I really have low self esteem anyway. Like, I don't have people. Sometimes people accuse me of having an ego. I don't think I do because I hate myself
They do
so
the
much.
same, dude. They do the same shit to me, and I'm like, the joke's on you, motherfucker. Nobody hates me more than me. So, I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly. So you'll never hear me say a kind word about myself, but if I'm gonna ever do that, it's for that rap on the cruise because I fucking killed it. I mean, I cannot express to you the feeling of being on a stage in front of I don't know how many fucking people, and I'm on stage with Q, Brian Johnson, Ming Chen, Murr from Practical Jokers, and fucking Adam Ray, who I didn't even realize I didn't even know the Dr. Phil thing then. Now he's on Kill Tony every week. Like now he's a huge deal. He was probably a huge deal then, to be honest with you. But I rapped in front of all of them, plus a fucking full theater. And when they and they're cheering for me after every time I go because it's back and forth, you know.
yeah,
And so
battle rap.
at the end they're like, who thinks Ming Chen won? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh god. And like, all right, who thinks Jimmy won? Dude, it's a feeling I would give anything to get back. Like I understand why, because I also have stage fright, you know what I mean? So like I'm not looking at the crowd when I'm doing this. Like I'm totally focused on the stage, the people on the stage with me. but I understand why people chase that dragon of performing and shit,
Oh
because
yeah, dude.
that is a feeling I've never felt like that before. To hear that many people and they're chanting Jimmy, Jimmy, and I'm like, before you know it, it's over. You know what I mean? You don't even have time to really fucking like realize it in the moment. Like afterwards, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that happened. Like that was so. Yeah, buying some hair can do that for you.
Dude, that's so awesome. I didn't know there was such an involved story to it. That's really cool.
Yeah, it has definitely worked out in my favor.
Have
You
you ever
know,
got to meet Kevin Smith from it?
I met Kev way before I bought the hair, but I've met him since I bought the hair countless times.
Wow.
Like more times I can count. I would say the best thing as far as Kevin to come out of buying the hair is I got to play poker with him. Like there's a big fucking like poker game that Kev's involved in, and some people kind of took notice of me because I made an impact with the hair thing. And so I got invited to the Kevin Smith poker game. It wasn't a cheap buy-in. I think it was like $300. And I knew I
Wow.
wasn't gonna win, but I'm like I'm basically paying $300 to play poker with Kevin Smith, you know.
Dude, that's amazing.
Um, but I have pictures. Yeah, he what he would do is there's like 5 or 6 tables, and he would go to each table and deal like 5 hands or some shit. And he ended up like right next to me. So I have a picture of him like in his bathrobe, half awake, like dealing or whatever. Um, yeah. And then I drove to the
Wow.
gathering the next morning. That was wild.
Dang, dude. Actually, that it's
Yeah.
funny. Since you brought up music, it actually transitions nice into my next question. I wanted to ask you. I know you're a juggalo. I know those are your dudes and everything. But let me ask you. Do you have any guilty musical pleasures? Hmm.
Oh, besides ICP,
Well, no, I don't
plenty.
think ICP
Yeah.
is a guilty pleasure for you because that's your shit, dude. But I no, I'm talking about stuff
It's a
that
little guilty.
that's what I thought. I'm talking about stuff that if people found out you liked, they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, I mean, honestly, they're right at the top of the list. Like, I don't wear that shit to work. You know what I mean? Like, cause I don't. I mean, it's kind of gotten out now, but I still. There's also like gang affiliation bullshit that keeps you from doing that too. But whatever. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of guilty shit. When people say I like everything, and then you ask them like, oh, do you like black metal? Do you like fucking uh outlaw country? Do you like And they're like, no, no, or what's that? I legitimately feel like I like almost everything. I don't like new country. I love the outlaw shit. I like the old shit too, like the fucking Hank Williams shit, like the really twangy fucking cowboy hat shit. I hate like the new shit that makes chicks take their fucking tops off and shit. Um but like I'm not even all that opposed to fucking pop music. It's definitely not my top choice.
Some of it can
And
be
I
good.
wouldn't Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like with everything. I mean, some of it can be good. I'm not a humongous country fan, but that's a whole nother story. But I actually was raised on like my mom was really into like Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline and OK
Yeah,
Boys and
that's my
stuff like
shit.
that. I like that kind of shit, man. That kind of country I dig, but everything
Me
after
too.
that, not so much. I don't like country rock. I don't like. But no, I get
I'm
it.
not crazy about that. Well, so like, here's what comes to mind immediately. Like my playlist has I don't know how many fucking songs on it, and when I'm driving Michelle around, I just hit shuffle, and anything could come on. Anything
I
could
do
come
that
on.
too,
It
dude.
could be hip hop.
Mine is the most eclectic. Like, dude, you could have Harry Connick Jr. paired with gangster
Yep,
rap, you know,
absolutely.
paired with like jazz, Miles Davis, like big band, and then it
Hmm.
goes into like metal, then it goes into ska,
Yeah.
then it goes into punk, then it goes
Yep.
into 80s old school rap, then it'll go into
Yeah.
yeah, dude, mine's
Same.
like the like a blender of just like things I like. It's like
Yeah. Me too.
but
I
yeah,
think where it gets guilty for me is like like when Selena Gomez comes on. I'm like, ooh, oh boy.
I mean, yeah, she's nice to look at. Yeah, I mean,
She's got that one song that I really fucking dig, and it comes on. Michelle's like, "What the fuck are you doing with this?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
I just added one because I thought you would like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, dude, I mean, I attend every fucking major ICP event, but I don't typically tell people I don't know really well. Like I
Really?
tell people like, yeah, like I tell people
That's
like when I go to
surprising
the
to me,
gathering
dude. I
every
always
year.
thought that like you kind of went around and you were like kind of like an advocate for those dudes. That's surprising to
I mean,
me.
I marched on Washington. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really a secret so much as like if people don't know what it is, I don't want to have to explain it to them. And if
I
people
get
do
like
know what
that,
it
dude. I
is,
get so frustrated. Like, I mean, now it's a little better, but like, I've been a ska dude since I was in high school, and then you try to explain that to somebody. They're like,
yeah,
you like sky music? Like, is that like at an airport or like? I'm like, and then I'm just like, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
yeah,
No, I totally get
yeah. Like
that frustration. If I didn't realize it'd be the same way with it. I mean, they're pretty. I think everybody knows who those dudes are now. Jeez,
they
but
don't. They shockingly don't. And then a lot of people who do, like, there's a reason they're the most hated band in the world. You know what I mean? So
nah,
people
dude, they're not
think
hating more than Nickelback. There's no way.
they're neck and neck. They're neck and neck, and like Nickelback sucks, but I mean they're neck and neck, and like people that aren't into it or like have or were never into it. Like, there's people that like some of the shit that don't claim Juggalo. You know what I mean? Like, but people that like don't like it or only know a little bit about it always have some sort of like idea about it, like you're in a gang or you're a fuck up or you're trailer trash or
Well, I
fucking
mean, dude, I've been used to
um
that from like the horror genre. When I was when we were, well, I mean, you're a lot younger than me, I assume, but when I was young, dude, if you had a horror shirt on, you were, white trash, from questionable background, like you were,
really.
dude, yeah, dude, it was things have come. It's in fact, it almost kind of infuriates me because I used to get picked on and fucking, people talk shit and fucking. You were an asshole if you liked horror films, and then now it's such a money making conglomerate. And everybody, it's so mainstream. Everybody loves horror movies, and it kind of
Yeah,
makes me bitter, dude. Like you think I'd be happy
I
about it,
get it.
but like I'm like such a fucking curmudgeon now. I'm like, well, I grew up my whole life getting fucking picked on. Now, like everyone's like, yeah, fucking horror's great, and I'm like, yeah, fuck off. I'm like, yeah, like,
I never I never had that issue, which is interesting. Like I never
I used to do.
whereas like
I used to like. In fact, I still do. I'm still a big fan of like old school rap, like in hip hop. And dude,
oh, me too. Yeah.
I had the most horrible time in high school and middle school. I went to a predominantly redneck school, and you can imagine how that was.
Really?
Oh, dude,
Oh yeah, I
I
can
have black
imagine.
friends, and they tell me that I got called the N word more than they did going to school. So,
That's crazy.
yeah, dude, dude, I actually, I'm not even kidding. They burn a cross in my parents' yard. Uh, yeah, oh yeah,
In PA this all happened?
yeah, dude. And then they booed me when I went to get my diploma, and I finally got the fuck out of there, and I flipped the whole fucking school off. The whole fucking school, teachers, everybody booed me. Like everybody hated me.
Wow.
I'm not the Z grade success that you know now.
Z grade. You're a
Yeah,
huge success. Howard
well,
Stern knows you
there's
by
no
name.
weird dude. No, there's no stop. I mean, but let's talk about that. I met you through our, mutual love of Howard and the Howard
Yeah.
Stern show, and
Yeah.
I gotta say, dude, since I can remember, you've always been like my biggest supporter. Even
Yeah.
when I
Oh
had
yeah.
always would puzzle me too, because I'm like, I still am puzzled, and I always appreciated it, dude. And I always, over the years we've become really good friends, and I've met so many great people through the show, and I have to say, again, what was the definitive moment whenever you discovered Howard and you were hooked ever since? I actually have one particular thing that hooked me. I usually used to watch the E shows with my grandpa, and we would sit there.
Oh,
We used to sit there and drink beers and watch the E show. But I didn't start listening to the radio show religiously, like every day, till this one particular thing, and it caught me. I used to here and there would be on when I was driving to work. One thing, and then I haven't missed a show since. Do you
tell
have
me.
one of those?
Sure. Yeah. Well, really, the movie when the movie came out,
Private parts, yeah.
when I remember it coming out like in the theater and like I was like, holy shit, this looks so fucking dope. And my dad, get this, my dad was a fucking Imus guy. So he fucking
Oh,
hated Howard.
oh,
He
dude.
hated
Yeah,
Howard.
my parents hate Howard, and it bothers me.
Me too. I mean, it's funny, like my parents are both super liberal, so like with kind of the direction he's gone recently, like interviewing Kamala and Biden and shit, Hillary, they definitely have. My mom especially has a newfound appreciation for him. Like she actually, like she won't listen to him, but like I tell her shit all the time now. She loves like the George Takei shit.
Ooh.
My dad, I think, just appreciates kind of like the interview stuff. Not that again, not that he's listening, but he was always an Imus guy, so he fucking hated Howard. And I remember the movie coming out. He like, I mean, I was also fucking not even 10 yet. And he was like, he did not want me to see it. And then like it was that fucking movie that like you go over your friend's house and like their dad or their uncle had it on VHS, and I'd be like, I'm gonna see that fucking movie. I'm gonna see that fucking movie. And then one day it was on USA. Do you remember they used to show it on USA and like the um the radio the speaker orgasm scene
Oh yeah, yeah,
on USA?
yeah.
They would
They
pause
would yeah they would cut that they would cut the living shit out of
and
that.
Howard would walk onto the screen. Like he filmed something for USA where they paused the movie and he would walk on screen and he would talk to you. He'd break the fourth wall and he would tell you what you couldn't see because it was
I
on
wish you could
USA.
still find that shit, dude.
I
I've
know.
always wanted to see that again. I can't find it anywhere.
It's almost like a fucking fever dream, but I know I saw that so many
Ah,
times.
dude, that no, there's one particular thing too. They used to have they used to play the audio of it and they had an actual was actually remember when they used to do the cartoons, like the Stern Show cartoons?
Yeah.
And it was this somebody I remember somebody was going into this house and it was dark and then they were looking and it was Gary was on the ceiling and they're like, Gary, get down from there. And he'd be like, wait, wait, wait. Like I've been looking for that for fucking decades, dude, and I can't find it. It used to make me and my buddies used to almost piss our pants every time that would come on. But what is some of your favorite show moments?
Oh my God. A couple come to mind. Remember, remember Gary's dinner party?
Yeah.
Like the whole aftermath of that, because it was 2 days I think they covered it with Adi shows up late,
Oh yeah.
Howard leaves early,
Yeah.
bellowing through the house, Beth slams the door on the musicians. Um, Robin doesn't show up at all. Um, then Ralph calls. I don't know. That's like the greatest. Ralph's Lost Weekend, in the Hamptons.
Oh, whenever he throws the comforter in there's a washing machine with the puke.
And he's like fucking riding around at 4 a.m. looking for Howard's house with a stranger and like dancing with some like disgusting chick at the club um and then the other one would be, remember Gilbert and Abe Hirschfeld? They play
Oh
that
yeah.
a lot, but
Eddie Gilbert was like was just fucking the best, dude. He was one of my favorite guests in there. I took his passing so hard. He was one of
yeah,
my
me
favorite
too.
comedians.
Me too.
He was a talent, dude. I'm so glad I got to meet him
Same.
before he passed away. And he was a big horror fan, dude.
He
I
was.
get I gave him a Vincent Price brooch.
Really.
And dude, you would have thought like he would have fought, dude. You would have thought I gave him $1 million. He was so
No
proud of
shit.
that shit, dude. Like
Well, he loved gifts.
well, yeah, absolutely. He totally forgot about like the like the 500 bottles of water. Did you ever watch that documentary, dude, where his
Yeah.
wife shows all the fucking shit he's boosted from all
Yeah.
the places?
Yeah.
That's brilliant, dude. That little documentary his daughter did about his artwork, like almost made me cry.
Oh
Like
yeah. No, he was the fucking
he was
dude.
great.
Remember him and Adi like hijacking the news?
Oh yeah, dude, that was the best. That was some of the best times, dude. Like
And
that
like
shit was
Howard,
the
like
best.
you could tell
Dude,
Howard was like getting annoyed, but
they totally went right off the fucking rails, dude. It was they couldn't even get the show back. That was some
like
of
Howard would get annoyed, but you also recognized how funny it was.
the. Let me talk a little bit about you mentioned Ralph. I mean, you actually got to go and show your tattoo. Like, how did that come to be, dude? Like, how did you decide to forever emblazon Ralph Sorella on your back?
So it's funny. I'm pretty sure the last time you and I had dinner together, um,
You had talked about it.
we always talk Stern, you and I. I mean, what? Why the fuck wouldn't we? I mean, you've been calling to the show longer than I've been alive, and I'm a fucking diehard. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but um, so obviously we're gonna talk Stern, and I don't know. At some point, I know I mentioned like for a reason, I always find myself loving what people hate. Like I mentioned earlier about like Rob Zombie's filmography and shit. Like, and that's how I felt about Ralph. Like Ralph was like one of the most despised fucking members of the show.
Not to me, dude.
And
In fact, we still, X Tina and I, we still miss like him calling in, man. Like
I
the
know,
show changed dramatically. We
yes,
were on Team Ralph, dude. I know a lot of
I know
people.
you were, and that's why and that's actually what got us talking about it. Was like I knew I had an ally because most people hated him, and I don't know that many people that listen to Stern, and the ones I do were either indifferent or just or didn't like him. You know what I
I
mean?
think it's because he was just so honest and had no filter that like that turns people off. And
Yeah.
I could connect to that and relate to that on such a personal level because I'm a pretty polarizing dude myself. So I mean,
And yeah, I know. And he was confident and he had full access to Howard and like I in a way I sort of almost get it now because like I sort of get like weird jealous shit from people because I like have a relationship with the Tom Steve Dave guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, why can't that be me type shit? And so I feel like a
oh,
lot of
dude,
people
dude,
felt that
I'm
way
just a
about Ralph.
caller to a show, and I've gotten that like for a decade. Like people,
Sure.
yeah, people, dude. It's funny when I first started dating Xtina, she never believed it, and then I would show her almost on a daily basis because, dude, that was back in the day when they were on 5 days a week on
Yeah.
K Rock, and I would show her like messages from people almost every day that would say, "You're the worst caller in the world. You should kill yourself. You should jump off a bridge. You should slit your wrists." Blah blah blah. They go on and on and on and on and on and on, and she's like, "You're just a fucking caller to a show. Like really? Like I'm like I'm
People
not
get
doing
jealous, man.
I'm not doing anything that anyone else couldn't do."
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
so yeah, that's always kind of been weird to me, dude. Like,
I know. And
and then when you get embroiled with like other callers,
yeah,
it happens too. Even though
Pittsburgh
like,
Pete.
oh, that guy's a fucking
I
turd.
know. I He's one of the few people from that show that I do not like.
I ended up having to like block him because he just too much for me. I mean, yeah, yeah, and that's the thing too, dude. Even when he was quote unquote cool with me, he would always say something nice and then follow it up with a backhanded insult. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need that shit, dude. I don't need
Yeah.
to kiss anybody's ass to be my friend. So
Right.
I didn't. I just got sick of hearing it, and then his politics got a little too much for
Oh
me.
yeah.
So
I
I
know.
was like, yeah.
Well,
I
so
used to
you
love
would
when him and Artie would mix it up, and he would tell him to jump off the fucking bridges in Pittsburgh.
God, he has been on a long time. Pittsburgh Pete. Well, anyway, so
Oh, he's
you and I,
retired.
yeah, I know. So you and I bonded over our mutual love of Ralph, which I never thought would be possible with anybody, but you're a man of taste. And so when Ralph died, it was so fucking unexpected. Like, whoever would have fucking predicted that? And so I had kind of fucking made the decision that I was gonna get a tattoo of him. Like my very first tattoo was of MCA from the Beastie Boys when
Dude,
he
that's
died.
awesome.
Yeah, when he died.
I cried when he died, and I took that bad, dude. I was up at like I found out like 3 in the morning. I got up to like use the bathroom, and dude, I'm sitting there like sobbing, and then ex Tina woke up. I was like, "What's the matter?" And I told her Ralph died, and she was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Because exactly like you said, dude. It was like when you listen to these people for so long, it is weird because it really does kind of feel like you lost a family member. And I know a lot of people think that's silly or weird to even say that.
No, fuck that.
You know, dude, I've been listening since the early 90s,
Hmm.
and it feels that way. Like I would feel that way about, anybody on that show, even if, I didn't necessarily, like them very much. I would still be like, wow, like if High Pitch died tomorrow, we've had some history, but I still would be like devastated. Like, I'd be like, I can't believe it, which I mean, I should be able to believe it, but I mean, You just listen to these people so long and they become ingrained in your life, and it's such an intricate part of your life. It, dude, I felt like it took me. I actually was depressed for a while about Ralph, dude. So I mean,
Oh, me too.
I totally
Well,
understand.
well, dude, the thing about that show is like, there's nothing else like it. Like, yeah, we have podcasts and shit now, but like, nothing has been on for that long. There are, with the amount of hours, I would love for somebody to fucking be a great Bobo question, but I would love for somebody to calculate the number of fucking hours that he's been on the air. I mean, you can't even fucking fathom it. So to think about how many hours you've spent with him and Robin and Fred and Gary, and like, these aren't like, I mean, in a sense they're characters, but at the same time not at all. Like, these are real fucking people, and you're getting real insight into their fucking lives every fucking day for hours at a fucking time, for years on end. There's nothing else like that. There is nothing else in the world like that. Podcasts are, I love podcasts. I know Howard hates them. I love podcasts. They don't even come close because they haven't been around since the fucking 80s. They weren't doing it every day for 4 hours a fucking day. At most you get 2 3 hours a week. With Howard, even only doing 3 days a week, you're still getting 9 hours of them a fucking week.
I
So
know,
like,
dude. People love to complain, but I'm like, the thing that scares me the most as being a fan is, and I'm sure you've this crossed your mind and anyone else, the day where it's all over and you turn the
yeah,
radio on and there's nothing there.
I
Like
know,
that's
I know.
that
I think
silence
about it all
is
the
going to
time.
be completely deadly.
I think about it all the time,
I
especially
try to think
lately.
about how I'm going to cope with that day. Like, I mean, because
I know.
it has been a part of our lives for so long, and then I
Yeah,
do think about what it's going to be like the day it's gone and over. I mean, because there's times where, there's some things on there that I'm like, yeah, it's kind of groanable, but there even at the very worst, there's still nothing even close to being that good. Like
I know.
whether it be a podcast or whether it be, so like when people complain, it makes me laugh because I'm like, if you think you're upset and sad now with the quality of the show,
Yeah,
wait
Whaley's
till it's
fucking
not
gone.
there anymore. I
Yeah.
guarantee you're gonna miss it. So
So they did a fucking a contest, for fans to come down and be on the wrap up show or witness or watch the wrap up show. And I didn't win, but some guy who did is a really sweet guy in one of the Howard Stern Facebook groups posted that he won and he was driving up from DC and he wanted to know if anybody wanted to join him. And I somehow, by the grace of God, got to fucking see this post right after like a minute after he posted it. So I was the first comment. And I think he kind of looked into my profile a little bit before he offered it to me, but because I was the first comment, he ended up offering me his plus one. And so I got to go to Sirius. You know all this, but this is, I guess, for your audience. I got to go to Sirius, go up to Howard's floor. I didn't get to see the compound, but I got to go up to his floor. I got to go in the fishbowl. I got to watch the wrap up show live. But they also sprung on us, they surprised us that three of us would get to actually talk to Howard on the air, like look him in the eye
yeah, I
and
remember you
talk to
made
him.
it on Howard TV.
Yeah, yep. And again, just pure fucking, Derek on the show.
Yep.
Him and I have a mutual friend who is a juggalo. And so I knew that. He didn't know that, but I knew that. And he's kind of interviewing everybody in the fishbowl, like, because they hadn't told us yet, but somebody was going to talk to Howard. And he's interviewing me, and I slipped that into the conversation. And so that's how I ended up talking to Howard. Once he heard that word, the producer brain started working. And so then I talked to Howard, I talked to Robin, greatest moment of my fucking life, right? Then I'm on the fucking wrap up show after, and they wanted us to like, you listen to the wrap up show, like they take questions from the audience, like they take
Yep.
calls and shit,
Yep.
just like the regular show. Because it was a live audience event, we were the callers for that show. So like they wanted us to answer their questions. So I raised my hand to answer a question about John Hines' audiobook or something. And Derek came over and he noticed my Svengoolie tattoo. And so I'm talking about Svengoolie and how much I loved it with Gary and at the time it was Rasan. And I mentioned I'm gonna get a Ralph tattoo because Ralph had passed at this point. And I said I'm
Mhm.
gonna get a Ralph tattoo. And so they kind of like they took me at my word, but I don't think they like really like gave it too much thought. You know what I mean? But Derek says to me, when you get that tattoo, let me know. Okay. So fast forward, I don't know how many months, I go get the tattoo and I send the picture to Derek, and for like 24 hours, it's so wild, dude. Like for 24 hours, I'm like not part of the show, but like I'm gonna be like a piece of the show. I mean, as well as I do, like it's a 3 to 4 hour show. He covers a million fucking things. He's been promising us fucking Sternak and Flava Flav
Yeah,
for
for how many weeks
fucking
now?
for
For
months.
a
You know
month.
what I mean? It's unpredictable. You don't know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? But as soon as I sent that picture of the tattoo in, it seemed like they hit the gas on it. Like that was something they wanted to get to air immediately. Like that wasn't gonna go on the fucking back burner. Next thing I know, Mike Perlman's fucking calling me. I have a voicemail from him that I'll never delete. I did like a 20-minute interview with him, half hour maybe, um, where like we recorded shit for him to play for Howard, but then him and I just kind of bullshitted too about the show, which was cool. And the next thing I know, next morning, fucking 6 a.m., I get a fucking no, six. What time is the show? 7, 6:45. I get a phone call from Derek from Sirius, asking me for permission to use the image on the website.
Wow,
And he said they're
dude.
going to talk about it. And I'm like, well, should I call in? And he's like, well, we can't tell you to do that, but you're definitely going to be talked about. So I'm like, all right, I'm calling in. So then he tells the screener to fucking put me through, and I'm sitting. Have I told you this before? I'm like,
No,
I
dude,
mean,
we haven't really got to talk about it. Mm.
it's funny. You know this better than I do because you call so much. You know what it's like to be on hold. Like you're just listening to the show,
Oh
and
yeah,
then like when he picks up on you, there's like a beep
yeah.
sound thing.
It used to be a, and then it changed. Now it's like some sort of like beep clicking kind of thing.
Sure. So I had never called in before. Like I never thought I would. Literally, if they didn't tell
I've
me
been
to call
telling you
in,
for years you should, dude, and you were fantastic. Mm.
yeah, I appreciate that. It was definitely one of the greatest moments of my life. But so I'm listening to the show, on hold. First and only time I've ever done that. And I'm at home and I'm like, all right, like I gotta make sure when I get picked up on that I'm fucking in a place with signal, glued to my seat, because I can't have this shit cutting out. Like I have to
Perfect.
be golden.
Because you know he's gonna say something if you're not.
And I don't want that. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I'm like, all right, I gotta take a shit. Like he's not gonna pick up in the next 5 minutes. So I go take a shit and I'm listening, and like the way he fucking brought me on, he's like, I'm listening, all of a sudden I hear, hey, is this boop? So like he must have fucking picked up.
Yep.
Like I went back and listened after, and it was
It
he
all
he said,
blends seamlessly. You can't even tell. Like, but yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah. And so I'm like, I'm literally pants around my ankles, shit dangling out of my ass, sitting on the bowl. And there's like a pause and I'm like, yeah, it is. And next thing I know, I'm talking to Howard and I can't move because if I move or I wipe or I do anything, my signal could cut out. And then, all right, I gotta get out of this. You know what I mean? I don't want that. Get off my phone. I don't want that. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
dude.
I'm
That's
sorry.
trust me, I've had it before and you
The
don't want
connection is horrible. Like I
it. It
don't
breaks
want,
your heart. It broke my heart.
yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. So this was me. I didn't move. And I was on for like 20 minutes and like I ended up causing like a really great conversation about geek time.
I know, dude. It was great. Mm.
But as soon as I fucking hung up, I had to wipe myself and fucking, oh dude, it was.
Now
And then
that
Michelle fucking took the Howard the Howstrom.com post about it, and she printed it out and she framed it, and it's
oh,
in our bedroom, and
that's
I'm
awesome, dude.
yeah, I'm very proud of that one. I'm very proud of that.
Well, dude, I'm glad I got to hear that story. That's I can't think of a perfect way to end this. that's a triumph of the will, sir. I love to see the good guys win, and Jimmy the hair guy, you are definitely one of them. You are definitely one of my goodest. What the fuck? I went to public school, but you're definitely one of my best friends, buddy. It's always a
Oh, you
pleasure
too,
to talk
pal.
to you. I can't believe we've never did this before.
I know. Well, I didn't think I was. Before the hair? What the hell are you gonna talk to me about? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
dude, dude, we could have talked about many things like we did now.
dude, you interview fucking real celebrities. You interview real fucking, um, idols, fucking motivational fucking people, like people we fucking look up to, fucking icons, fucking.
And
Now you're
now you
slumming it
fall
with
into
some
that
guy who bought some
category. So
hair.
stop being so goddamn humble and just own that shit, Jimmy the hair guy. What I'm trying to say is, brother, I love you, man. You
I
got to
love you
come
too.
back again. We got more to talk about. We
Oh
got to
yeah,
talk about, man, where can we people see Slasher School? This is your podcast. You talk
yeah,
about classic slasher films.
yeah. So I can
Where
tell
can
you
people
right
see
now.
this at?
Uh, One of my buddies from Tell 'em Steve Dave does a podcast called Reviewing History, where him and two other guys they watch movies based on true stories, and they discuss them at length, and they talk about what's true and what's not, and they make a bunch of jokes. They just launched a Patreon. And on their Patreon, they were kind enough to give. So actually, I've been on their show twice, their regular show.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the two movies I've done. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Last one I did was Man on the Moon. Guess what I did before that? Private Pots. Of
No
course.
way.
Of course. What else am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So yeah, no, I did private parts on this show, which you can see that on YouTube or
Dude,
listen
that's
on any
awesome.
podcast app. Yeah. So my love of Stern is not surprised to anyone. Okay, yeah. So Slasher School was basically me and my other buddy from the Reviewing History podcast. Um, we're basically playing professors teaching our student about slasher films because the third guy on the show has no knowledge of fucking slashers whatsoever. And so my buddy picks the movie. We all watch it separately. We show up with our notes. We discuss the film. We He gives it a grade. If his grade is close to our grade, he passes. Otherwise, he wears a fucking dunce cap. So far,
That sounds funny as hell, dude.
we play a game where has Jimmy met them? I think it's called, where my buddy will list people from the film and ask the student if he thinks I've met them,
Oh,
which
that's a great idea.
50-50 shot that I have.
Let me ask you
Um,
this: that your student though, like, was he a fan of horror? Or is this just somebody that's complete? Oh, yeah, that's even more interesting.
yeah, and I could tell you I think we've done six so far. Um, they're dropping monthly because they're doing other shows on the Patreon as well.
Hmm.
But one of the staples is Slasher School, which is my show. We've recorded Sleepaway Camp was the first episode. That's out now. We did Leprechaun. We did Slumber Potty Massacre. We did Evil Dead. We did
So
Friday
these are
13th.
available on Patreon. Where can we listen to this
They
at?
will be. Yeah, they will be. It's patreon.com/reviewing history. And right now only one is out. There will be one every month. Um, it's like $5 a month. $5 to listen to me for an hour. Not the best deal, but there's other shit on there too. And there's like a Discord. If you pay $20 or something, that I pop up in occasionally. I don't know. I'm selling this really fucking well. The point is, if you want to fucking hear me fucking on this Slasher School show, I'm very fucking proud of it. Um, Reviewing patreon.com/reviewing history. I assure you, it's better than I'm making it fucking sound. And it's pretty good. I mean, also on reviewing history, like my buddy came with this idea called Jim Impressions, where he has me do impressions of, like he doesn't tell me in advance what they're gonna be. He
I
like
listened to you on one of the Tell 'em Steve days where they did that, and dude, it's
That's reviewing
entertaining.
history.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's entertaining as hell, dude.
you like that?
I
Yeah,
absolutely love it. I need to see more of that for sure.
yeah. Oh, there will be. And then the other thing is, um, there's gonna be another show coming to the Patreon. Right now, all we have is Slasher School, as far as me. You know what I mean? If you're into the other guys, great. There's plenty of them. I only have one show currently, but we do have a second one coming. I don't want to promise this because I don't want to do it, but I know I'm going to do it, so I will promise it. It's going to be called Jimmy the Hair Guy versus the World. It's going to be me doing things that I'm scared to do. Like my buddy's going to write some stand up for me and then send me to an open mic and film me reading his material, or he's gonna send me to a con and try and get me to fucking get people to fucking buy my autograph, or he's gonna fucking send me to a pizza place and have me try to fucking complete this giant pizza challenge.
Dude,
So if
that
you want to
sounds like a
see,
great time. Yeah, absolutely.
for
I
everyone but
certainly
me,
watch
it's
that.
gonna be fantastic. Yeah, for everyone but me, it's gonna be fucking real high quality shit. I'm terrified. That's kind of the idea. But that will be coming to the Patreon as well. So if you like me enough to subscribe for Slasher School, you have that to look forward to. So check it out.
Big
I
things
would
happening for
deserve.
Jimmy the Hair Guy. You heard it, cats. You want to head over there. You want to keep watch because there's some great things coming down the pipeline. Make sure you check out Slasher School. I know I'm going to be doing that. I encourage everybody to run out and plunk down that $5 because I guarantee this dude is definitely entertaining and an all-around great dude. And I have to say, you are on the level with me and you, I consider you a Hort equal. So I'm eager to hear this
Appreciate that.
podcast. I can't wait, dude. I always wish you the best of luck because you're my homie. So it's always a pleasure talking to you. We got to do this more often, dude. Like, I
Yes,
can't believe this is the first time I've known you for how long?
I know.
Long overdue, sir. So
It's an honor. It's an
don't be a
honor.
stranger.
Honor and a
It's an
pleasure.
honor to me, sir. I am a fan of Jimmy the Hair Guy. So let's just, since we're done sucking each other's dick, let's just say goodbye and go out, check out his podcast, and check out. You heard it first, I think, on the Balls from Ellwood show. Was it Jimmy the Hair Guy versus the World is coming? You think?
Unfortunately, yes. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Oh, tune in for that, cats, and we will see you on the next episode. And peace and love, dude. Peace and love. Hmm.
Peace and love.
I'm warning you with peace and love. You have to go see Jimmy the Hair Guy, or else it's going. You're going straight in the rubbish.
It will be tossed.
Love you, homie. Get back to
Love you,
work
buddy.
before you get fired.